I'm on.
How does it?
So, hi everybody. This is Sarah. I'm gonna wait for a couple of people to pop up in the chat before I start talking about what I'm going to do tonight, but it's going to involve this pad right here, as the stream is titled, pad shaving. I don't know what you thought that meant, but it has to do with this thing right here. So this is a shape that, I don't know, I ordered a bunch of these from China because I needed something that had miniature silicone fingers for something this summer that I was working on, and this was the shape that gave me miniature silicone fingers. It's a textured scrubbing pad. It has all these tiny little fibers on it that are absolutely wonderful, textury, and delicious. Consequently, though, for the thing that I needed this summer and the thing I'm making now, I only need these textury fingers on one side of this pad. So I'm gonna need to cut all the little bristly bits off of the opposing side so that I can adhere it to things. I'm just gonna kind of set up my workspace and see if anyone's interested in keeping me company. If not, I'll just talk to myself, which I'm totally okay with doing too, right, Mark? I'll talk to Mark.
I'm watching your stream 10 seconds delayed.
Really?
Delayed. Sorry, that was a fake echo.
He's terrible. I don't know why I like him. So, this...
It's you 10 seconds ago.
Thanks, Mark. Mark's watching this stream, like, literally, like, behind me. Like, 2 feet. Because, yeah, Mark's quality people.
You're just now turning to talk to me and have the conversation that just finished happening.
Hello, Vigray. Well, good morning. Vigray says that they just woke up a few minutes ago. Aw, I'm sorry to hear you're sick. I hope you feel better. I feel tired. I'm starting to feel tired. We just got back from dinner not too long ago, and I haven't done anything all day. We were out catching up with an old friend. So, yeah. Now I get to work. Probably until late. Mark's not gonna work. He's gonna go play Zelda, right?
Zelda.
He's gonna Zelda himself. Yay. Hi, Shane. Hi, everybody else who might be in here. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'll explain what I'm doing again, real quick. So, I'm still working on the Vibrating miniature Noodle bot, which is right here. I think I dubbed him Minty in my last stream because the little bristly brush things inside of his feet, they're actually, do I have the packaging? Here. So the current brushes inside this guy's feet are made from these wisp, I don't know, they're like portable toothbrushes that you can take with you, stick in your purse. I cut the heads off of these and I stuck them inside of his feet. So they're like these nice fine little bristly bits that are attached to the bottom of his noodly feet. The thing that I didn't realize the last time I did a stream was that the dark bead that's kind of in the center of the brush head is actually filled with fluid. So I tried to pry that out with a pair of needle nose pliers and it burst all over my face and got everything all minty smelling, and this guy consequently still smells like Listerine, so, or, I don't know, he smells like toothpaste. So this guy is a smearmint. But anyhow, I went ahead and replaced his wiring with some silicone wire, because last time I was just using plain stranded, like whatever gauged wire, and it was inhibiting his movement when I actually got the motors running. So this stuff's a lot more silky. It's like velvety wire, and I'm gonna hook these guys up to my breadboard that I have hanging here and see if the brush feet do what I'm hoping. So the game plan with this guy is that his feet, the ends of his feet are actually detachable, so this chunky part, let's point to one that you can see, so this whole end piece actually is removable. It's literally like a little shoe, so if I hold this up, I can kind of, this one's not going to want to come off. No. Oh, it's compressed on there. There we go. So these guys can come off, so they're removable. So this is, again, the foot and the shoe. And I have a piece of paper tape wrapped around his little gam that kind of helps it stay on. So he's kind of like a ballerina. He tapes his feet too. Oh god. His head just fell off. So I did give this guy his own head. I went ahead and made another top so that he can have his own eyes, his own consciousness, his own soul. So in addition to the toothbrush head feet, I made some spongy feet out of makeup sponges or makeup applicators. The same material that you would kind of use on your face like this. It's just a thick version of that in white. So I cut out little round pieces and glued them to the same 3D printed shoe boot. And the thing that I'm doing now is I'm going to take this pad, this silicone pad from China, and I'm going to shave the bristles off of one side of it with nipper cutters, and then I'm going to cut little circular pieces off and attach them to a pair of blank Noodle boots that I just pulled off the print bed like maybe 10 minutes ago. And yeah. And then I pulled this foot out to show that I used silicone pad like this on the conveyor belt of Noodle's foot throat lining. So that's why I ended up ordering these. So this is actually a conveyor belt that I made this summer that goes inside of one of Noodle's feet and facilitates in him swallowing things off the ground with his foot. But that's a different story. This was an extra one that I had lying around. I always buy extras of things, especially when they're coming slow boat from China. So yeah, I'm glad that I did, because now I can cut this thing, and I'm gonna switch my view down to the bench view. You can watch me make a big old mess with this guy. So I think it doesn't really matter what side I start cutting. I think one of my other goals for the night is to stick these transistors that Mark gave me the other day into my breadboard to that schematic and hook up my little vibrating motors so that I can get this guy doing sensibly. Because it would be nice to have him make little designs and stuff rather than just making a complete random mess. But if that's all he ever does, I'm okay with that too. And hello to everybody. Oh, hi Marble. How are you doing? Ooh, I think I just explained the, I don't know if you caught me explaining the plan, but I'm just shaving this. And I'm gonna start right now. So, the way that I did this, and it's kind of like slow and methodical, unfortunately, so I start by just kind of cutting off the bulk of the little, whatever the hell those are, fronds, I guess, toes. And then once I cut them down like halfway, I do a close shave with these guys, and I have to actually kind of stretch the pad over one of my fingers to tension it a bit to get the nice close shave that I'm gonna need, so that the backside is actually flat and adheres well to my foot boot that I 3D printed. But yeah. So I'm hoping I can get this guy smearing in the near future. And then I think the plan after this, after I get this, the Minty guy, my little doodle bot working, is to release a version of the Marshmallow Brain that has hookups for the little vibrating motors. So if somebody wants to make their own miniature Noodle and have him be a drawing bot, they can do that. And then potentially modify it to do something exotic, hopefully something far more interesting than what I'm going to do with it. But The fun thing about this is I actually save all these little, like, pieces of shrapnel. Oh, I should have put down black paper. It's not too late, I can still do it. Just so you can see all the little toes that are going to accumulate. Nah, that's good enough. You can see them. You can see all this mess, right? Yeah. Black paper would have been fun. Yeah, this gets really messy. But anyhow, how are you guys doing? Shane asked how well is that actually working? Wait, did something happen to your thumbs? Oh, no, I wrap them because it's winter here and it's dry in the desert, and I will, once, I don't know, my skin starts cracking, I'll just kind of pick it apart until my thumbs bleed, and I'm trying to prevent myself from doing that. To be perfectly honest, I already kind of have bled myself, so that's just to kind of prevent myself from making it worse, I guess. Let's see. Oh, an electric razor. I don't think we have an electric razor, otherwise Mark probably would have offered it by now, but this isn't too bad of a process. And again, I don't have to really shave this whole thing. I just need to clear off enough for the, to cut 3 circles that will fit on the feet. So I'm probably almost close to done. Let me see if I can catch up with the chat. Marble says they'd cut the non-lumpy side first. They're both lumpy. They're the same side. I just have to pick one and kind of go at it. And again, I'm only trimming one side. It's the same texture. I just need one side to be bald. And yes, Noodle is definitely made to make messes in the best sort of way. He's a messy robot. Like at the Ars Electronica this year, he actually, one of his feet was on display and it was actively drooling the entire time. They were all suspended in kind of like cages, I guess, with, I don't know, mirrors underneath them so you could see up inside of the mechanism. And for the drooling foot that had the juice gland inside of it, that one just kind of like perpetually got pinched and juiced all over the place every couple of minutes. But the fluid just kind of free flowed out of it as gravity dictates it ought to. A nipper with 3. Ah, Robert says maybe there's a nipper with 3 sets of blades for a close shave. I wish. Get the marshmallow. Shane asked if there's a place where you can get the marshmallow PCB files. Yes. I have a Tindy store where the board's already assembled. It's I'll put a link in the description of the video after this is done, but if you want to find it now, if you go to tindy.com and type in ROBOHEMIAN, it's the only product I have on my store right now, so, but again, that version of the marshmallow isn't going to have the motor support for the vibrators yet. That's kind of the most bare bones, basic version of the baby Noodle brain. It just beeps and blinks right now. But I was talking with my friend last night, and he suggested that I make a version with the larger Atmega chip, and then just break out the unused pins to little like connector pads, so that people can, you know, run other peripherals off of the chip and then hack it to do unique things. So I'm thinking that my next, like the Marshmallow 2 board, will be exactly that. It'll be a smarter, better, more capable brain that people can do stuff with, because yeah, it'd be neat to see people who actually know how to do the electronics in a fairly advanced way, do cool things with my fairly basic board and robot. But me see if I can catch up here. Ah, yeah. Feed the noodles. Free the noodles. I agree. You do have to keep the noodles free. They like bounding. Awesome. Good. Please hack the heck out of it. I like seeing that people are actually doing things with the baby noodle and the brain. Like they're printing them in different colors and they're adding like modules to the brain to do different things with the baby. And that's, I don't know, that's exciting. It makes Noodle really happy to know that he has spawn kind of evolving out there in the world. But I'm still going to release different versions of the marshmallow brain that support different functions, just to kind of create a library of potential brains that you can equip your baby with. These little things are sticking to me. Robert Williams asks if Noodle has a Twitter, and the answer is yes. He does have a Twitter, and it's @NoodleFeet. And the only thing he tweets right now is he announces when I publish a page to my comic, and then when I'm working on development for his actual feet with the peripherals inside, he does tweet all on his own to his Twitter account pictures that he takes with his throat cam. So his foot throat actually has a camera inside of it, and he likes to tweet about things that he swallows with his feet. So I think I've got enough area of this trimmed that I can get my 4 circles cut out. I'm gonna go ahead and do that close shave that I mentioned earlier, where I kind of bend the pad over the top of my finger and cut the very kind of like remaining nub stubble. I'm gonna call it stubble. This is pad stubble. I'm gonna trim this pad stubble off of the surface. So the other thing that doing this kind of reminds me of when you eat an artichoke and you get to the center and there's the choke part that has like the hair on it, and you have to kind of pluck the hair off of the choke in order to eat the fleshy, meaty artichoke heart bit on the inside. This reminds me of that very much. Oh, is it Titana? Titanelle. I'm gonna call you Titanelle. If you have I guess to make a noodle spawn, if you can find a 3D printer to hijack of one of your friends, or go down to your local hackerspace and use theirs, that's roughly all you need to make the body. And then you can have a spawn. Oh god, this stuff is sticking to me. I'm gonna go to sleep and have little bits inside my sheets and stuff. So I'm working on Twitter function to my robotic. Oh cool, Robert Williams says they're adding a robotic, or a Twitter function to their robotic barbecue smoker. That's a good idea. Is it gonna notify you what the status is of the meat? Or give you data on the meat? Or on the temperature? I don't know. I guess smokers don't have a temperature. Or do they? I don't know anything about smoking meat. Well, Marble, you should, if you want to do the robot thing, just start doing the robot thing, because that's kind of what I did. It helps to have people who know how teach you, but you can just sort of dive into it head first by, just doing. I guess, think of something you want to make and then just research how you think you'd go about making it. Because there's really, I mean, I don't know. I think the first, when I was first getting into this, one of the beginning entry-level robot-y things that I got into doing was, I was hell-bent on designing a Delta robot, but I didn't have a machine shop or any real knowledge of how to do that, and I just kind of banged my head over it and built a few models of Delta robot that didn't work, and then eventually I wrapped my head around what was actually happening mechanically, and then, you know, made it work. But I didn't know what I was doing, and it was okay. Like, you kind of feel it out as you go. So my advice would be to just start, if you have an idea for something you want to make, just start doing it, I guess. Cindy says you don't have a shipping rate for Australia. Oh no! I think if you, Shane, if you request, or you don't have to request it, you're talking to me. I can do some research and find out what the shipping rate would be to send a board to Australia, and then add a shipping option there. I just have to kind of manually go in and do it the way that they have it set up. I apologize in advance if it ends up being more expensive than expected. Like, shipping out of this country is ridiculous, and I'm kind of at odds with it right now, because I had a shipping option to the UK up like maybe a month ago when I first put the marshmallow board on my store, and I promptly learned that there's really no way to get away with shipping it to the UK for anything less than the price that the board already is. So I think I cited a $4 shipping price on Tindy, and it ended up being 3 times that, so I took it down. And I haven't found anything less expensive yet, which is kind of frustrating, because I want to have international shipping as an option. I mean, I want to send my stuff out there, but I don't want it to cost an arm or a leg. Or an arm and a leg. Oh, feel better, Vi. Get some good rest, okay? Meat Delta for the win. Yes. I did eventually make a meat Delta. I think one of my projects 2 years ago in January, like right before I made the meat Delta, was to make a version of Noodle out of meat, like a sausage noodle feet. So it's my intention to eventually do that. So there'll be a meat noodle. I don't know if that's wrong. Like, Mark keeps insisting that Noodle's feet need to be like lamb spigots, you know, like they have at Greek restaurants where they have the spinning meat thing and you can just like shave pieces of meat off of the spinning meat spigot. He's like, Noodle needs to have lamb legs, like just meat wrapped around a little metal bone that like heats up and cooks the meat so that we can just sort of shave pieces of food off of him. And I insist that that's a very bad idea. But Mark just likes taunting me, so. He's also thought of some other really not good ideas for a noodle type robot. I'll just leave it at that. All G shipping to Australia is always stupid. We call it right in Australia. Shipping fee. I'll still try and find a decent one, Shane, because I don't know. I would like to have the option there and not not have it be a shitty option. Shaving my artichoke heart. But yeah, as I mentioned, I do save all these tiny little pieces because I know eventually I'm going to have some weird use for some squishy, soft, pebbly texture, and this is going to be perfect. I just don't know when that's going to be. A marshmallow board would be enough to power a scorpion. Oh gosh. Marble asked if a marshmallow board would be enough to power a scorpion. I mean, if we're talking, it's just a coin cell powered board. It can't really power a whole lot. It's like, I mean, literally it's a coin cell battery, so it's 3 volts. So I think the moment that you get into powering anything more, that needs more juice than a few LEDs, or you want to power a motor, then you're going to need something with a higher voltage. That being said, the tiny little vibrating motors that are in the drawing noodle right here, they run off of 3 volts, but I don't know how many you would actually be able to get away with running off of just one coin cell battery. If you just want the LED, like to give the scorpion LED eyes, then yes, that would work, because that's all it do. And unrelated something you made. Really? I'm happy to hear that. Something I made inspired a story? I'm curious to know what it is, but that makes me happy to know. I'm happy that I can inspire in some capacity. 'Cause really, that's why I'm doing any of this. I think life's really boring unless you have creative dialogues with other people who make things. But that's just me. I know plenty of people who get by without having good creative dialogues with other makers and stuff, but I don't know. I find it a necessity. I mean, that's why I live with Mark after all, right? The jerky delta. Oh, the marshmallow boards are $12. Yes. Maker Block asked if the marshmallow boards are $12 on Tindy. They are. They are 12 per board, which seems a little high given what they do, but I figure anyone who's buying one is also using the STLs to make a noodle, so it's kind of like it's the price for all the things available for the build of the project. At least that's the way I see it. I think future versions of the marshmallow will be a little bit more capable. I mentioned using the larger Atmega chip and then breaking out all the unused pins so that you can actually attach your own peripherals to them and have the noodle do additional things or have additional methods of sensing its environment, which is something I might do in the very near future. So as soon as I get a little bit of extra time, I can have that board fabricated and then add that to my store. So I'm gonna say, like, within the next 6 weeks or so, there'll probably be a marshmallow too, and it will probably be around the same price, I'm guessing, unless I do the bomb and it ends up costing me more than I'm thinking. It'll be around 12 to 15 bucks, and it will have like the Atmega 328 chip on it, and it'll allow you to do more in the hacking sense with the BB Noodle. Oh man, where was I? Sorry. Robert asks if I've ever read Pushing Ice by Alastair Reynolds. Alastair Reynolds sounds like I have not actually. I'm bad about reading. I occasionally will put aside time and commit myself to reading a novel, but it's not something that I'm very, very good at sticking to a regiment for. I get distracted with projects a lot, and I don't set aside enough time to watch movies and shows and read books and stuff, and I really should, so I need to work on that. Like, I think I saw, like, one movie last year in all of 2017, which is really bad. Like, we went out to dinner tonight with one of our friends, and I think a good portion of the night was spent between Mark and him, and they're talking about shows that they've watched within the past year, and they had many to talk about, like Stranger Things and the like, and I had, like, no input on the conversation whatsoever. It was just me kind of sitting there, like, blinking like a raptor, looking kind of cute and raptor-like. I was like, oh. If you want to DM me, you can on Twitter. I'm at Spetku, at SPETKU. That's like my main thing for everything, really. My main, I don't know, method of doing social. Rebel, what do you need your Scorp to do? Oh, you're asking me. Yeah, what are you gonna do with your Scorpion? I saw you sculpting Hopeful Scorpion. Are you gonna add electronic components to it? Oops. That's fine. I have, oh yes, and Daniel, these are going to be shoes for Minty. I'm going to attach little circular portions of this pad to the feet, but I have to shave one side so that there's like a flat surface to kind of, I don't know, stick to the bottom of the foot. I actually have my hot glue gun right here ready to go as soon as I'm finished shaving my pad. This is actually kind of relaxing. Not that I'm stressed or anything, but a good portion of our conversation tonight involved talking about, like, things that depress the shit out of me, like current affairs and politics and stuff. So my morale was pretty low when I got home, like maybe an hour ago. Oh, my computer's dying. Shit. Let me grab my power supply real quick, sorry. Gotta remember. Gotta remember to give power to my computer. Yeah, I think one of the first times I streamed, I completely forgot to run power to my laptop and it died halfway through. Oh, there, that's better. Anyhow. Oh, I'll see you, Marble. Thank you for stopping in. Definitely shoot me a picture of your Scorpion if you do make progress on it, because I want to see. And no, Shane, or Daniel, sorry, Minty is not gone. Minty is alive and well. He got new nerves the other day, so I had those like crappy, stiff, stranded wiry bits. I replaced them with silicone wires, so these are really velvety and flexible and like loose, and it'll help this guy scoot around better. He also got his own dedicated head, so I gave the other baby Noodle its noggin back and then made another one of these for Minty. So this is Minty's persona inside of his little skull. and I went ahead and made those feet out of the brush heads, the toothbrush heads that had the beads inside of them that exploded all over my face. Yeah, so I 3D printed a shoe that had an inset cavity so that I could actually put glue in the cavity and then stick the brush up in there so that only the bristly part's poking out. So I think a good 4 millimeters of the base of the brush is actually inside of this shoe. But this helps it stay level and have everything all neat and stuff. Sticking out of his foot. But he's otherwise ready to go. Like, I could probably plug him in and test out the brush shoes that he has on his feet, but I wanted to do this for a bit, because this right here is very exciting, right? Oh yes. Quite honestly, I wanted to have a video on my channel that said, like, the phrase shaving my pad live, but that's because I'm a strange bird. I think I'm inhaling these pieces. Oh my god. But Minty's here, yes. And hello everybody who's joined since I've said that last. I get bored in the little 12-second loops that never really happen between steps and projects. I get really... Oh. Yeah, I mean, Mark tends to put stuff on. Like, Mark will go and watch things in the other room at night. I don't even think we put the TV on while we're working on projects, actually. Like, if we're in here working, the most we'll put on is music. Because I think both of us are in the mindset that if we have a show on, we want to give it full attention. I mean, I went through a phase, like, a year or so ago where I watched Cutthroat Kitchen and Iron Chef and pretty much anything with Alton Brown in it, non-stop. And we were also, I think, watching Doctor Who in tandem with that, and Walking Dead. So, like, we do watch shows from time to time, but we haven't lately. I think Mark's been watching Stranger Things and then Dark Matter, but I don't know, I kind of dedicated myself towards the end of last year to finding ways to make more money for myself, because after my last birthday I decided that I was not going to allow myself to be impoverished anymore. So I'm trying to solve that problem in any way that I can, doing stuff that I like to do, which is always the goal, right? And the Tindy store and all these, like, small projects that I've been working on, and the streaming and all of the things that I've started doing in the recent past are all kind of a part of that goal to make the monies. Cause yeah, I'm too old to be as broke as I am anymore, and I think towards the end of last year, after I was done with my residency and all the stuff that I was doing, I was just tired of it. Like, an angry tired. Like, I was, like, a legit pissed off, angry Sarah, and I decided that I was going to stop being so nice. I'm gonna stop doing things for free and stop apologizing for myself so much. It's a really bad habit to get into. Not really sure where I picked it up. But I don't know, I think it'll go over pretty well. I'm off to a decent start this year as it is. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm almost there. This is one of those like weird guilty pleasures that I enjoy doing. Not a guilty pleasure, but I guess it's kind of a weird satisfaction that I get out of this. It's like popping a zit or something. But like I actually legitimately enjoy stripping this thing of its texture. That portion right there is probably enough for 4 of these little feet. So I'm gonna stop and just cut out my foot circles. Do they all fit? Yeah, they all fit. Sarah's weird. There. He fit a long time ago. Good enough. In that case, I'm going to trace my little foot circles on here and cut them out. That's good enough. So yeah, one of the things that I did at ours this year, because I ran out of time to do all the things I wanted to for my exhibit. So I had the feet that I designed for Noodle kind of on display, as I mentioned earlier. And one of them had the throat lining that was made out of this pad stuff. And I had to kind of sew little chunks of this pad onto the conveyor belts. Because this is circular and I can't cut like long strips out of it, so I had to kind of make a strip out of fleece and then stitch little chunks of this onto the fleece, but I had to sew silicone, and I only packed 1 needle with me, and it broke in half like twice, so the majority of the time that I was stitching through this, it was just with a broken nub with a hole in the end, and I was just forcing it through the silicone and like stitching it through, and it just completely destroyed my fingers, and I was suffering, and I did it anyway because it had to get done, and I didn't feel like running around to find a new needle in Austria, so I was just kind of being stubborn and torturing myself. But this stuff is not meant to be sewn. I mean, that should be obvious, right? You would think. Of course it's not made to be sewn, Sarah. What's wrong with you? So, doing this to this pad definitely fits in the category of shape modifying. Like, I think a good portion of my practice is thinking of like a texture or a shape or a thing that I need, and then trying to find it on Amazon.com or like at IKEA or the hardware store or something. Alright. Oh god. Big old mess. Do I want to use nippers or do I want to use scissors? I could just use... Yeah, I'm going to use scissors. Or should I use nippers? No, I'll use nippers. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna work. Sure. This is going to be interesting to cut out. I'm sorry, I'm all quiet now. I'm like holding my breath doing this. Not that I'm going to screw it up or anything, but it's kind of an awkward material to cut with nippers. It's not too bad. It's probably good enough. Probably cut out a few of these and then take the ones that turned out the best. It's always weird cutting out something that has bristles or hair on one side, because you always end up accidentally cutting the bristles, which isn't ideal, but I don't know. It happens. So there. That's one little brush shoe foot. So I'm gonna make 4 of these. And I think, I mean, if I were to take a wild guess, I'm thinking that this is going to end up working out the best for me in regard to the feet, the brush feet for the minty doodle, the minty smear bot, the smear bot, doodle feet, shaky smears. What else did we name him? Twitter gave him a bunch of names. Like, he's got like 4 or 5 names. Inky feet. I think we might have met briefly at Superfun. Oh, cool. MK Me Lab says we might have met at SuperCon. It's probably likely that we did, and it's good to meet your acquaintance again if so. And the Noodle build is going pretty well. If I'm a good girl and I stick to what I said I was going to do on my Patreon, tomorrow is going to be a Walking Wednesday, where I focus primarily on getting Big Noodle to walk like he's supposed to. So I think like one of my main goals for this year is to actually just focus on Noodle's walk gait and not any other distractions. Like, it's fun giving him additional abilities, but he does need to walk. So tomorrow I think I'm going to do my first meditation of walk-related things. And what? You okay? Oh, he died. Mark's playing Zelda in the other room. I just like looked over and I see the load screen for the game. Okay, so that's 2. Oh, and to answer your question, what I'm building tonight, I'm making shoes. Like, I'm making basically a brush bot, like a drawing brush bot that draws with its brush feet, but I'm cutting out little pieces of brush silicone to attach to the bottom of the feet. So I'm effectively making shoes with rubber bottoms, treads, brush treads, and I'm cutting this silicone scrubber pad to get the brush texture, just as a recap. And what did I do to my thumb? I guess this is called social anxiety. So I'm taping my thumbs up as kind of, it's like putting a cone on a dog's neck. It's like that. These are thumb cones for a socially anxious raptor. That's me. Because yeah, when I talk to people, I will have this nervous habit of picking at my cuticles, and since it's so dry out here in the winter, I will pick them until they bleed, which is bad. So for the sake of my thumbs not hurting all the time, I just wrap them up. Oh my. Ah. This is not easy to cut out. I was trying to do. Aw. I like that you have a Patreon. I donated for a long time until now. Aw. Thank you for donating. One of the things I mean to do at the beginning of this year is to sort of make. I want to give back to my patrons, like some of my long time patrons who have been supporting me for like the past 2 years, and give them a little something. So it's my intent to, once I build more of these boards, to just send them out as gifts to the people who have been around for a while. So you might be getting a present in the mail. hopefully soon. Like, I don't know when that's going to be, but it's whenever I get my shit together and have enough stock. I think your link is wrong. Oh, is it? Shane says my link to my Patreon is wrong in my description. I thought I fixed it, but it might still be broken, so I'm gonna go check that. I think silicone is what surgeons used to practice structures on before moving on to organic tissues. So I'm kind of like practicing surgery, like a surgeon then. Yeah, Nevada happened to my thumbs. Shane says Nevada happened to my thumbs. They totally happened in like a serious way. Oh, am I missing a E? On my Patreon, well, Robert says I forgot an E. Wow. I could have sworn I copy and pasted the link, so that's interesting that that happened. But I'll fix it. Thank you for pointing that out, by the way. That's bad. That's like how people give me money. I can't fuck up that part. Titanel says, the socially anxious raptor is the best name for a bar ever. That is a good bar name. That's like the bar here's name. The socially anxious raptor is the name of the bar that's in my kitchen in my house. We'll just say that. The socially anxious raptor. But yeah, I will pick my thumbs until they bleed. It's a real problem. The thing that I use to bind them is called paper tape. It's like the stuff that you use to make makeshift bandages. It's usually found in like first aid kits, but it's actually a really good bandage material because you can kind of just, I don't know, it's more immediate and than a Band-Aid. It's not as thick as a Band-Aid. It leaves you with the ability to tactilely like sense things with your fingertips because it's so thin, but it does keep the wound like from getting crap inside of it, like oils and grease and stuff if you're me. Since it's on a reel, you can kind of blow through it and remove it and replace it as you like without going through boxes of Band-Aids, which I used to do before I discovered this stuff. A friend actually suggested that I buy boxes of paper tape instead of Band-Aids, and I go through maybe a reel every half a year, like a roll of it, and it's saved me a lot of money, and they are ultimately just a lot better than Band-Aids. Sorry, I'm catching up on the chat. Oh, Maker Block asked if I'm bringing Noodle Feet to Maker Faire this year. I think the submission opens again to bring stuff, I think this month, and then they accept people in March. I don't think we're going to be bringing the Delta robots with us this year because we've been exhibiting them in Las Vegas here at the libraries, and we're I think booked for the month of April and May, exhibiting them somewhere in town. So we won't be bringing them to the fair, but we might go because last year was the first year ever that Mark and I kind of took a break from Maker Faire, and I think we're ready to return. But we both agreed that we're going to exhibit new content, and he has a project that he's working on that he might show in some capacity, and if I do end up bringing Noodle, it will be because he is walking by then. If however he's not, I'm not quite sure what I'll do. Me and my friend Tony, who I do the paint cannon stuff with, we might try to bring some of the cannons that we've built with us to exhibit in some capacity, but we actually proposed creating like a clean room enclosure at Maker Faire last year and kind of making a big contained mess inside of it with our peripherals that we were building, and they denied it. They were like, no, that's probably sounded like a bad idea to them. Plus we wanted to do it in the dark room, so that might have had something to do with it too. It might have been too potentially messy or hazardous, but it didn't end up happening last year, so we might propose it again this year. Now that I'm thinking about it, even if Noodle isn't walking, I'll probably still bring him with me. because he's like my mascot child at this point. He's kind of like the Honey Boo Boo of spoiled robot babies. In my mind. In my heart, he's the Honey Boo Boo spoiled robot baby of robots. He's like a show baby. That's an interesting thing. Huh. Yeah, when I bring him somewhere, it's all about him. So I feel like one of those stage moms. Huh. I don't want to think about that. That's a weird thought. Anyhow, ooh, what wooden sign? Is there a wooden sign that says make the money? Because if so, I need to hang it up, like, behind my head. I'm really tired of being broke. Okay, so I cut little, like, circlets out of this pad, this giant choke, and I'm going to glue them onto my feet now, and then I'm gonna get Noodle vibrating, or the baby Noodle vibrating. I don't know if I should clean this mess up yet. I probably should do that. So I'm gonna move this pad away, and I'm going to use this recipe card, or no, screw that. I'm gonna use Mark's schematic, and I'm gonna clean up some of these little tiny pieces. Noodle wants to snort these. Oh, hi, Tony. Don't worry, if I go to Maker Faire this year, then Noodle will be there. And again, I have no idea what we'd actually do. It's just a bunch of different things have been spoken about, discussed. There's the potential for a bunch of things. It's just a matter of what we actually want to commit to this year. But I'm pretty sure the Delta robots are not gonna be a thing. Okay, this was a bad idea, because now they're just sticking to the card. They're like super staticky. Shoot. I could just vacuum these ones up, or I could get a piece of tape. Shit. Oh dear, I'm in deep voodoo. Here, I have a bag. I'm gonna put my dots in a bag. Okay. And then I'm gonna hook up my schematic on the breadboard for all of my tiny motors and plug those guys in. Oh, this is totally not faring well. I'm glad that you people out there can't see what a catastrophe this is panning out into. Because I think a good 50% of these are ending up on my lap right now. That is blue. Dear Lord. Okay. Good heavens. Okay, that's probably good enough. I just don't want these things sticking to my hot glue gun. Can you imagine, like, a million of these tiny little bristle dots stuck to the sticky side of your hot glue gun? Oh, that's not even close to clean, but that's as good as it's gonna get, folks. That'll do. We'll call that good. That's clean. Dots. It's a dime bag for Noodle. Noodle, here, you can have this. Paper on Mountain Dew brand LiPo batteries. Mountain Dew should make LiPo batteries. That would be hilarious. A wooden sign for your bar with a cute raptor. Ah! That type of sign. Robert says I should get a wooden bar sign for the kitchen that says the what was it again? Socially anxious raptor. And it can be like raptor dew claws on either side or something. That's a good idea. Anyhow. Alright. Hot glue gun. Feet. And my dots. Yeah. Hopefully this works pretty well. Can you guys see that? Yeah? Okay. I don't think hot glue actually works on silicone. But, it'll work enough for this application, I'm thinking. Like, it doesn't have to, like, hold anything super bondy tight. It just needs to kind of tack on there good enough. Good enough that he can stand on these things and they'll be his shoes. So there's one silicone brush shoe for Minty. I'm gonna put that by him. I should have a little cam that shows Noodle and Minty. Even though I'm going to be done making these now, I'm probably still going to test out the shoes that are on him right now, which are the ones made out of the toothbrushes. Those ones still might work pretty good because the bristles on those are quite fine and short, and they've got enough stiffness to them that they're stiff but they're thin, so I think the vibration will carry through pretty well. Shane asked, what does work on silicone? That's a good question, because I struggled with that this summer. It was a real struggle. And yeah, this is definitely not really holding very well, but I think that's going to be okay. I might end up using a little bit of that paper tape and wrapping that around the edges, and that can just kind of like hold it on, I guess. Because yeah, this isn't really sticking. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not really holding. It's not holding at all. Okay. I forget that idea. Okay. I'm gonna use tape. Because yeah, the hot glue is totally not, it's not even holding a little bit. I was hoping it would at least tack it down. It's not even doing that. Nothing works on silicone. Nothing. To answer your question. It is crap. Okay. Anyhow, I'll put that over there for now. It worked on the plastic. Blah. Sugru or Ugu? Caulking? I don't know. There's something. I asked this question before and I got a bunch of answers, and I never went out and bought any of those things. I think I was afraid that they were gonna smell like noxious. and be very like cancery scented, so I just avoided getting any of the chemicals that were suggested for adhering silicone to anything. But yeah. Oh, good night, Daniel. Sleep well. Oh, do I have any of the RTV left? No, I tossed the rest of that tube, because, it was like, literally I used all of it, so it was just like it was rolled up into a tight little shitty toothpaste morsel kind of thing, and, I ended up just throwing it away because it was sticky, so, But yeah. Everyone's saying Subaru. Daniel says Subaru. Don't use them in California, they come with extra cancer there. Ha, yes, everything comes with extra cancer in California. Gives off, speech smells bad, but is basically vinegar. I don't think I have anything on hand right now. And I don't have any Subaru on hand. But yeah, these are not sticking. I think I'm just gonna... I think I'm going to use paper tape around the edge. Glue's not even really sticking to the plastic either. Nothing is sticking to anything. This is just fail all around. That's okay. I will figure it out. Made from caulking and cornstarch. Makerblock says Ugu is DIY Sugru made from caulking and cornstarch. I would have to try that sometime. That sounds like a good idea. I did make my own, what the hell is that stuff called? Paste, I guess? Like the kind that you brush onto posters to stick them to walls out of like flour and sugar and hot water, and that worked really well. Like way better than I was expecting. And I adhered it with a brush and everything to get like printed stuff to fit on the wall or stick to the wall. It made a better glue than I was expecting, but in this case, I don't know. I don't know what my solution is going to end up being. I could just use the paper tape, because that stuff kind of, it conforms to all the little nooks and crannies and just sort of tacks stuff on. So I could probably stick this stuff down with some hot glue and then just wrap a bunch of paper tape around the seam to kind of hold it there. We'll see. Mod Podge. Yes, I made Mod Podge. Alright, I'm gonna get my paper tape. That's the same stuff I use on my thumbs. Yes, it is a good glue. Like, that's my go-to glue, especially if I'm going to do simulated vandalism on a fake wall. So that's this stuff. It's like really thin, kind of, I don't know, sticky, thin tape that will probably work for this application. So I'm just gonna go ahead and line these bad boys up and put a dot of glue just to tack them down, even though it doesn't work. Should work well enough. So I'm gonna tack. Oops. Tack and stick. Everybody loves a good tack and stick. So I'm kind of technically making, like, feet for another Noodle. Like, last year was all about making Big Noodle, like different types of mechanical feet that did things, and now I'm like revisiting that whole obsession, that weird fetish I had with making robot feet, but I'm making like tiny little baby feet of like different varieties. So these are essentially like vandal feet for the baby Noodle. Okay, so I've got, those are gonna be my, that'll be fine. I've got my 4 shoes, and I'm just gonna kind of paper tape the edges. And this stuff will also absorb whatever ink I end up using on the brushes too. It'll probably look kind of nice. It won't be a bad thing. Okay. That should be good. Yeah. So you can see it's kind of very slightly overlapping the seam, like the meat of the bristly part, and it's just gonna kind of hold on to it a little bit. I think that combined with the little dot of glue I put in the center will be enough adherence. Although I already bumped this one off, so maybe it won't. I've got this. How long have I been doing this? Does it tell me? How long have I been recording for? Oh, hour and 12 minutes? Okay. I'll get on the circuit doing. I might go summon Mark for this next part. Or have him, like, help walk me through the build of the circuit, because I mean, I can make sense out of this, but if he kind of walks me through what to do, it'll get done a lot faster. Okay. 2 shoes. It's like little ballerina shoes. Get the baby ready for his first dance recital. Okay, there. That's good enough. Oh, no. I totally just yanked that right off. That's not good. Apparently it's not sticky enough. Aww. Alright, I'm gonna retape that, but I'm not gonna... I don't know. Shit. There's no way to get silicone things to stick to other things, apparently. Honey. I can just use honey. That's sticky. Honey will stick anything to anything else, right? Shit. Man, I can't believe I just pulled that right off. It did nothing. So the rest of those are probably not adhered on there pretty well either. Oh well. I'll figure it out later. I've got plenty more pad left to do another spin of these shoes tomorrow, so we shall see. Alright, whatever. That'll do for now. I'm going to move the hot glue gun over here. And now the thing in question are these little, there we go, transistors. And I've got a breadboard here. So I'm guessing I have to hook up this circuit 4 individual times, before I can control each one of these motors individually. But that might be a little bit too much work for tonight, given that I'm already kind of an hour and 15 minutes into this. What I might end up doing is just powering all of the motors at once and seeing if Minty can actually like slide around on the paper if guided, testing all the different feet out. So right now, I can switch views real quick. I have these are the toothbrush feet made from the little like portable toothbrush scrubber things. I'll probably test these ones out first with all of the motors on at the same time. I have the sponge feet that are made out of the makeup compact things. And then I have these ones that I just made out of the silicone pad. I think the brush ones obviously will work best, but I don't know. I'll test and see which ones work well on their own, and whichever one wins, I'm going to use with ink probably tomorrow. Or maybe tonight. I'll maybe do that tonight. I can put some ink on whichever one works like decent enough, and then I can at least see if I can get some streaks with all 4 of the motors running at the same time. That should be fun, right? Or do the GitHub files have an extra head file? Shane asked if, do the GitHub files have an extra head? They shouldn't. There's a pelvis and then there's the skull, and the skull has 2 little crossbars on it. I'm not sure if, I mean, there should only be like 1 of each thing, but there are 2 like individual crossbars that are slightly different. And then there's the pelvis, and there's this, yeah. But there shouldn't be, to answer your question. Robert says try scuffing the surface. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. This will probably do for now. I'll look into a better way of adhering pads on a different version of the feet if they work. Like if these end up working better than all the other ones, then I'll put a little bit more care into making another set, since I have like all this pad left to kind of turn into potential feet. But anyhow, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and switch, put the camera up where I had it last time. Which is up here. There we go. Aim this down so you can see Minty. Yeah. I'll have him face you guys with his cute little eyes. Okie dokie. So we're gonna pull all of his nerves up. And I'll probably clip these onto my hangy-doo. so that I don't have to worry about them. So those work a lot better than the stiffer stuff I had going on a couple days ago. I'm going to pull his knees down so that he's in the proper yoga position, like that. And I'm going to get Mark's bench power supply, and I'm going to bring it in here, and I'm going to power the guy up and see if he does the scooting. So I'm gonna go separate him from his Zelda. Ooh, he's doing something scary. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get the Mark. Attack him back. Can you grab your bench supply? Say hi. Come. There's Mark. He says hi. Yeah? Or he's just gonna stare uncomfortably.
What do you need?
They said that we should make a wooden sign for the kitchen that says the socially anxious raptor, and that can be the name of the kitchen bar.
The socially anxious raptor.
Yes.
Yes. And grill.
He approves.
So you want that now?
No, I need the bench power supply. No. I need the bench.
Oh, you're doing that.
I'm gonna make it Twitter. It's gonna go like. So it's happening. We're gonna. This is test 2 of Minty. Smearmint.
Smearmint right now.
Smearmint. Hey, Adam. Oh, Adam recognizes the coaster because he probably helped us make this. This was a coaster made at SuperCon this year.
We made electrocuted wood.
This was made with a neon sign transformer in a way that you shouldn't use.
Can they see it?
Neon sign transformers. It's right here.
Oh yeah, it's in the dark.
Right, yeah. Okay. Do you want to stick that like?
You should point it toward the people so they can.
What? They can see it. It's right there. See?
No. The power supply.
Oh, the power?
Where's your camera at?
It's right there.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put it under that lamp then.
Okay.
Move back the chair, like way back. All right, lift up that lamp.
Oh god.
Oh god, it's so heavy. Can you see that? Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Aim it towards the screen a little bit more.
There you go. Is that better?
Sure.
All right, you got some leads.
Where should I put this?
Put it on top of the pump.
Is that allowed?
Sure.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be?
What
do you're doing?
Supply.
What is it? 3 volts or something like that?
It's 3 volts, but we ran it at like 2.5 the other day.
Where'd that plug go that we had at? We had a plug for that.
Adam says that's the proper way to use a neon sign transformer. What do you think, Mark? Mark says exactly.
Sure.
Yeah?
Where's the plug you had?
Hey, Coat Duck. My night's going good. How's yours? We're doing good. Mark's playing Zelda, and I'm trying to get my new baby to wiggle. So I've been making shoes for him. I just made these. They're made out of little like silicone brush pieces, and they're attached to little like, I don't know, they are technically shoes. They fit on his feet. And then I have spongy brush versions that are made out of those makeup brush sponge things that you like put on your face. And we're going to test all of them out right now to see which ones he moves best with, I guess. Which ones facilitate in the vibrating most, easiest. Oh, I'm going to group these together. So I'm going to get, do you have alligator clips or something?
Excuse me?
I'm going to,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put them in the breadboard because they don't go in very well.
So I don't have anything that would make for that.
What?
About another hour of streaming and soldering.
No, I'm just going to group all these together and
I
you
don't
can clip.
have, there's no thing for that.
No, you just pinch that onto here.
But you want to do that. You don't want
Yeah.
the breadboard, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
You want some crimp on, some fingers over.
So here's the negatives.
So you get into trouble trying weird stuff like that.
Oh.
Do it again. No, just put them in the
Will they fit?
Just, you gotta be. Oh, it's a silicone one, you're right. You might have to use, like, grip.
Wait, it's in.
There you go. Yeah. Damn it. There. Yeah, I just did the Korok Forest. I'm doing the first trial. And so, I'm gonna get that done. Maybe I'll watch a TV show.
Okay, I'm sticking the nerve endings into the breadboard. Oh god, this one's fat.
Fat?
A fat. It's fat. That's fat. Be fat.
Does it fit? Does it go? You want me to do it?
No, you're gonna break it.
Engineer's hands. You may have to just tin that. Did it go?
Yes, one of them went.
Fine.
It won't go. And I'm like fucking up the name.
Take that clipper and just like take some of the fatness off of it.
Nippers.
Your nippers.
Take your.
Go sideways on it.
Take your nip off.
Trimming tonight.
What?
You doing a lot of trimming tonight?
I shaved my whole pad. Ow, I'm gonna like cut my finger.
You want me to do it?
Shh, mister. Don't be perverted.
The tubes.
Here's the tube. There.
There you go.
Solderotica.
Solderotica.
Alright.
Right.
Right. Yeah. They're all like ruined, but they're in.
It's gonna be accidentally touching. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, fine.
I'll be fine.
Alright.
Should I face this?
Do you want to try this?
What?
You want to face Noodle toward the camera?
He is facing the camera. What? No, it's right there.
Oh, there. Whatever. Alright. You ready?
Wait, let me get him in his ujjayi stance. Not ujjayi. Horse stance.
Horse stance.
The horse stance. Ujjayi is a type of breathing. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible person.
Breathing stance.
The breathing stance.
Hold on. Yeah.
He's not gonna stand.
You need to tighten up those.
There, just screw it.
Glue
It's
in there or
fine.
something. Right. Oh, he's vibrating.
But he can't hold his little legs. We'll just leave him.
Yeah, leave him in stock mode. Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Turn this up.
What is it at? Oh, it's at 2.5.
Yeah, this will go up to 6, so just watch that when you turn it, because you don't want to kill.
Well, no, you watch it because you're operating it.
I was going to go back to Zelda.
Well, turn it up to
So,
2.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just going to move and...
Oh, this one isn't going.
Wait a minute.
Oh, one of them is going. Shh, don't pull. It might not be pushed in all the way.
Oh, you shouldered it.
One of them is not doing. Oh, now it's doing. He's humming like a little baby.
Alright. He wants to settle.
He's not scooting though.
Nope.
No. Is it 2? I can switch out the feet.
You probably like are at the point where a microcontroller and then you're putting different patterns on different motors will create motion. But I don't think by that itself it's doing that. And those brushes seem like they create less slippery
Interesting.
motion. What do your viewers have to say? Maybe they have comments.
Huh?
Anybody commenting? I don't know.
Oh, cool. Hi, Vigray. Welcome back. He says he took ibuprofen. I hope it kicks in and you feel better. That or lick it. Wait, lick what, Adam? I'm sure that's what they are made for. What's made for licking? Noodle says everything is made for licking.
His feet were made for licking, and that's just what he'll do.
I'm doing. Played some Halo and found someone on Instagram who looks exactly like me. I hate when I find people who look exactly like me. But Halo is awesome. That's my game of choice. Like, if I'm gonna, like wick some heat off, I'm gonna do it playing... Oh, God. Playing Halo and killing aliens. No.
So, what are we accomplishing?
I don't know. I'm just playing with
I
it.
wonder if these wires are starting to be too tight. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Right, I'm gonna change the feet. So
So power's right here.
Okay.
You do it. And then this first knob, none of the other knobs will do anything.
It's just that one?
Yeah, and then don't go past 3.
Okay. I'm gonna try the other feet. He's going back to Zelda, because he's Mark. Okay. We should be building, but here we are. Don't feel bad. I have been, like, blowing off work time playing Zelda and stuff probably more often than I should be too, but you need to balance it out. So I'm gonna say don't feel too guilty. You eat ramen next to Noodle, you monster. Yeah, that is kind of terrible, isn't it? Noodle never approves when we eat spaghetti or anything, because it is kind of messed up. Alright, I'm taking his feet off, his little shoes, because those didn't seem to do anything. Because I just had him running with his, like, raw feet making contact with the paper last time. I might do that first. Last stream, yeah, I just had his bare, like, bone feet making contact with the paper, and he was, like, scooting across it, kind of like a air hockey puck. Mark is currently... Shane, Mark's currently in the Lost Wood area, like near the Korok forest, and he's doing the trials, like the Korok trials, I think. So he's like fighting some shit. Right, Mark? He says, yeah. He's actually like probably twice as far as I am now, because to be honest, like I haven't really invested as much time in it in the past week as he has. Like every weekend for the past 3 weekends, on Friday night and Saturday night, he stayed up till like 4:30 in the morning just binge playing. So he's probably better than me at this point. Okay, so I took off these 4 feet right here with the little like scrubber brush things. These are the toothbrush head, portable toothbrush head feet. I'm removing these because they didn't do anything, and I'm going to do a test with just his bare feet with nothing on them to see if he still scoots like he did the last time I streamed, or if that was just because of the wires. Like the tension of the wire might have just been kind of holding him up. Okay, so he's definitely... He's definitely scooting with just his bare feet making contact with the paper all on his own. So, yeah. Can you guys see that? So he's just kind of doing whatever right now. Though he's kind of in like a squat stance. It's like... I'm actually kind of happy with that. I mean, if this is as good as it gets, and I just kind of, like, dip his feet in paint as is, and they just kind of, like, nub, like bone being dragged across paper, then, I mean, that's okay with me, but whatever. Whatever. Actually, question for both of you. Where am I in Breath of the Wild? I don't know where I am. I've been getting to the capital cities. Because that's what I used to do in WoW. I would run to all the capitals first thing. So I went to all of the main city hubs of all the races, and now I'm just doing side quests. And doing shrines to try and level up and get more hearts and stuff. But, again, I haven't really seriously played in a while. So he's all over the map right now. That's excellent. The linkages of the legs are absorbing the motion instead of holding steady, so the bristles vibrate over the surface. That's a good point. Pulsus says the parts of his body are probably absorbing some of the vibration, and it's not actually translating down to the tiny bristles at the ends of his feet. That's possible, but then the vibrators are at the ends of his feet, so they would more directly be shaking his little shoes that are like kind of fitting over where the motors are mounted. These might not be tight enough, maybe. So I'm gonna turn him off because he seems to be scooting, or at least moving freely on his own. So I'm gonna go ahead and... How much am I gonna lose? Okay. Alright, which one should I try next, guys? Should I try the sponge feet or the brush feet? Sponge or brush? Sponge, brush, sponge, brush. Whoever answers first, I'll do whatever you say. Sarah, I need to make more money. Also, Sarah blows off work for Zelda. Yes, I need to make more money too. But I don't take days off, and I work like 10, 12 hours a day, so like if I do blow off an entire day to play a game, I try not to make myself feel too bad about it. And as of right now, either way, I'm not really making very much money, so I don't know. I'm working on that. I'll hit a breaking point eventually, I'm hoping. Before I die. I haven't got any of the DLCs. Are they any good, Vi? He just mentioned that he hasn't beaten the second DLC pack. I've heard about the motorcycle, I just don't really... I mean, is it a lot of content? Is it worth the money? How much are they? I don't actually know any of this. And Shane says that he hates the Korok trials. That sucks, because I just got to the Lost Forest 2 not too long ago, and I left, because I didn't feel like doing that one where you have to, like, get to the end or something. And not break your wooden bullshit. I'm not doing that. And Shane says the DLC 2 is very good. So that's good to keep in mind. And to answer Coat Duck, the motors that I'm using, if you go to Pololu and you type in like vibrating motors, they're not the puck type vibrators, they're like kind of like long, I think they're 11 by 8 millimeter, like long shaft motors with the offset weight on the end. I can send you a link if you want, but they're on Pololu and they're like $3.50 a piece. So like altogether it was like $15 with tax for the 4 that I bought for his feet. And then everyone says I should use the brush, so I'm gonna put the green ones on. Yay! One brush. Sponge. Oh, we had two votes for brush and 1 for sponge. Vi, I'll get to the sponge next. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna test everything tonight. Might not get to adding any ink, but... Oh no! No! Okay, the brush fell off of this one. Ah! I'll fix it real quick. Here I go, here I go, here I go. Triage, triage. Okay, I'm gonna unwrap. Is my hot glue gun still hot? Maybe? Might be. Better than hot, it's still plugged in. I'm gonna tack this sucker down and put my tape back on and keep going. Nothing's slowing this girl down. No siree. So, tomorrow is technically Walking Wednesday. I don't really have like a set agenda yet for the endeavor, but technically, and I've said this all week, I'm supposed to be working on getting Big Noodle to walk tomorrow, like during the entire day. So at some point when I get up and I get my shit together and clear off everything that's on the table right now, I'm gonna hook him up to this guide wire and I'm gonna go through all of his walk code that I've developed so far and kind of just announce where I'm at, I guess. So everyone's kind of aware of what the problem at hand is in regard to the walking. Alright, this one's on. You have hard contact points, so Noodle will move and set the brushes into the plastic with a few plastic points. Just should allow the dancing. That's a good suggestion, Tony. Tony suggests inset the brushes into the plastic with a few plastic points just past the bristle tip should allow the dancing. I did that with the ones I took off are actually inset into the plastic, so like 4 millimeters of it are actually inside of the foot, and they still kind of didn't do anything. I didn't really feel very much vibration at the end when I put my finger to the tip of this one, surprisingly, and I'm not quite sure why. I don't know. Okay, so just the standard size. Yes. This first pack in grade 2 is quite good. $20 for both packs. You can't buy them separately though. Okay. I mean, then I'll just buy both DLC. Probably once both of us actually start defeating the dungeons, we'll probably invest in the things, the expansions. Oh, cool. Yeah, if you type industrial vibration motors, if you type like vibration anything into the internet, you get really good search results back. And I've gotten a lot of really like lewd comments, not lewd, they're my kind of comments in regard to the fact that I've been vibrator hunting like last week for this project. Yeah, for this particular project, yeah, it's not dirty for a change. When you run out of pages, just can't pick up the armor. Yeah, I know that lots of tomatoes for like $2.50. Nice, those might be handy to have around for bits of boss and such. Not the DLC. Using with the 4 motors in his feet, interfering with you. You need hard plastic at the same point as the tips of the bristles. The tips of the bristles. Tony says I need hard plastic at the same point as the tips of the bristles. Do I? Ah. Anyhow. As we were. Tony, we need to talk about the feet in person. Because I'm not understanding what you mean by that. Hell yeah. Oh man. Okay, that's good. There's the baby. Alright. Let's see what he does. I need to make his joints a little stiffer so his legs actually stand or stay out like that, but they are kind of loose, so he's just going to want to collapse in on himself at this point. Right, turn it on. Just fold him up and see if he performs like in. Pull you up. No. Okay, the silicone wigglers. Again, I don't like feel much vibration translating to the tips of his feet. I mean, it's there, like you can definitely like feel the tips of the silicone like bristles shaking, but it doesn't seem to be like allowing for the dancing that I was hoping for. Like even if I kind of try to drag him across the paper, like the bristles actually kind of like are inhibiting that. Like they create enough friction folding in on themselves that they don't really allow for him to like dance across the top of the paper. They're just kind of like folding over and then snagging, and then he's getting kind of locked in place. And I think that's due to the fact that they are kind of soft. Because like he's just kind of like, he's shaking, he's like wiggling as if he's standing on jello, but he's not actually doing anything. Alright. Alright, one more. One more set of shoes. Maybe we'll have more luck with these. And I'm like destroying these, getting them off. That's okay. I'll have to remake the little silicone feet. Okay, before you can play, there are so many as well. You need to... Vi says I need to beat the main game before I can play the DLC pack, so many as well. Oh, I might as well wait until one of us beats it. Yeah, okay, if I have to wait, then I will. I mean, that makes sense. But anyhow, okay, so these like literally disintegrated once I removed them from his feet. So, yeah. They didn't disintegrate, but I can't get the silicone to stick, so I'm gonna try the little sponge feet. These probably aren't gonna work, but I haven't tested it yet, so who knows? I might end up with an effect that I wasn't expecting. They might work better than everything has so far. Who knows? But my guess is that the sponges are going to absorb the majority of the vibration, and he's just gonna stick in place just like he did with the silicone. One of the things that Mark suggested today is that I get those fatty Crayola markers, the thick ones that you used when you're like in elementary school, and basically whack off the tip of the marker part, and then cut just like maybe, you know, half an inch into the marker, like just like basically lobbing off the tip, so you can pull the pulp out and then cut that into like tiny like 1/4 inch segments, and then make kind of like an end cap for like the tip that you keep that is attached to the actual marker piece, and then just sort of dropping the 1/4 inch pieces of the ink nib or pulp on the inside and attaching that to the foot and using that as sort of like a bingo dauber wet marker type end piece. Because like, yeah, it'd be interesting to use like a bingo dauber type foot. I don't know if anything I said just made sense, like my brain was thinking of it and I don't know if the words like lined up with what my brain was thinking. But basically, the end part of a Crayola marker with a modified tip, just kind of like shaved down so it's more like a bingo dauber. So I might give that a try here in the next couple of days to see if that works, because then I wouldn't have to actually load up any of these things with ink. There would just be ink inside of the marker, and that would be nice. No. That's what I thought. So the sponge feet, same deal. I mean, if I turn this up to closer to 3 volts, you can definitely feel the vibration, but yeah, they don't want to move. His feet are just sort of locked in place. Okay, that's no fun. Okay, I feel like I need to make him make marks before I end this stream, because it's been going on 2 hours, and you've been here with me through the whole process of making Noodle shoes for the baby. So since none of the shoes are actually working yet, which is kind of surprising to me, because I thought for sure these ones at the very least, with the tight, like neat bristles, would work the best, and they worked the worst. So since his feet kind of just work bare all by themselves, I don't know, should I just sort of dip the bone, the like raw bone, in some ink and see if they make some bone streaks on the paper? I'm not sure if that's terribly wise now that I'm thinking about it, because the bottoms of his feet have the raw, like, unbalanced motor bits kind of up in there, and I don't really want to get wet ink on the vibrating motors, so maybe that's not such a good idea. But I really wanted him to make marks tonight. Like my goal was to actually get him loaded up with some ink so that he could perform for us. But I don't know if he's gonna, and that makes me kind of sad. I want the little guy to do his little, like, tap dancing. Yeah. See, bare bone, he's good. He's, like, all good to go with the bare bone. He's like, what if I... He sounds like a swarm of bees. If I just sort of, like, lock his legs. There. Oh god. Yeah, the bare bones seem to work really nice. So just like the motors inside of their little, like, puck feet seem to work fine. What am I gonna do with you, Minty? Oh, I'll see you, Shane. I didn't see that. Good night. Sorry if I missed you. They have slacking off. I'll see ya. The rubber material is a damper. Let me turn this guy off. I'm gonna catch up on the chat and see if there's any suggestions being thrown out here that I'm missing, and then we can talk about, we can assess the situation and see if I can come up with a game plan for, I don't know if I'll get around to working on him tomorrow, because like I mentioned earlier, tomorrow is going to be a dedicated Noodle walking day, but maybe for the rest of the night before I go to bed, if I can resist going and just watching Mark play Zelda for the rest of the night, I will just work on this guy and see if I can't, like, modify anything to get any of these to work in the way that I was hoping. The rubber material is a damper, just like the shock absorbers in your car. Yes, that makes sense to me now, Tony, that you mentioned that, and I see it, and I'm like thinking about it. It makes sense that all of this material is actually just absorbing the vibration, and it does need to be stiff. So whatever is on the end of his feet, it needs to have some rigidity, so that, yeah, the vibration translates all the way to the end and then creates that like levitation, like dancing effect. And then I agree with Tony, harder materials purely would transfer the vibration better rather than absorbing it. The reason the bristles on the robot make it run across is because they're actually compressing and pushing the entire thing forward. And then when it jumps up, they return to their normal position. That makes sense. So do you think toothbrush, like coat duct, do you think like toothbrush bristles like people normally use for this type of robot would actually in fact work better? I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, that makes sense. I mean, I guess in my mind, I imagine that these would just shake violently enough that it would just, maybe not dance, but I figured it would like very slowly drag itself across the surface. But now that I see it with my eyes, yeah, these are just sort of inhibiting all vibration from getting to the paper, period. I don't know why I assumed there would be any other effect, but whatever. That's why we try these things out. It's called science, right? For the feet of these art bots. Vigray says that he always uses markers for the feet of these types of art bots. It makes sense. I think if I do work on this at all tomorrow, I am going to run across the street and grab some of the fatty markers and just do what I suggested, or what I said I was going to do earlier. That way the pad won't absorb as much vibration. Okay, I can try that. Tape some mechanical pencil leads to his feet. Tape some Sharpies to it. That's also not a turn. That's a good idea. Adam says tape some Sharpies to it. Tony says mechanical pencil leads. It's not a bad idea. I bet he would do well with the fine tip ones. Maybe toothbrush bristles cut down so they're stiffer. Coat Duck says shorten toothbrush bristles, which I saw Micah use in one of her streams recently with her brush bot. So I have these, I have the pokey ends of the toothbrushes. They're kind of like these, look like something that you use them. They're like the tooth cleaner, toothpick portion of the portable brush thing. I was thinking of actually cutting the ends off of these and like embedding them in a 3D printed foot and then having these be the tips. Although this wouldn't really facilitate in delivering any sort of ink to the surface, so just sort of, it might allow it to dance and vibrate well, but I'm not going to be making a lot of art because this isn't going to hold a lot of pigment or anything like that. But fountain pens, yes. If I could turn this into a fountain pen, that would work. So maybe the fine-tip Crayolas then, rather than the wide-tipped kid markers. Guess that makes sense. It's always the opposite of what I'm thinking. Like the opposite of what I want is the thing that actually ends up working in most of these cases. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I want the wider, broader, fatter, more squishy, like spongy end, because it'll help with the absorption of ink and kind of keeping a charge of ink longer while the robot moves across the surface, but then it defeats the whole movement of the robot, you know, in that it just sucks all the vibration out of the yeah, out of the feet. And then they don't do what they're supposed to in the first place. So I'm demonstrating a lack of understanding in regard to the physical properties of the things that I'm using right now. But whatever. The ultrafine Sharpies because they have a firm plastic tip that would resemble current feed. So just the ultrafine Sharpies. So like the not the fat Sharpie, but like this guy, the thinner one. This is like a Sharpie pen. I mean, I could just use an end like that. That way he would vibrate and he'd just kind of make, I guess, thin lines on the paper. Like, oh, I mean, I think ultimately I wanted to come up with a way where he would actually just make, like if you took a bingo dauber and you smashed it onto a sheet of paper and then just dragged it across the surface in random kind of patterns. That was like the thing I was gonna try and achieve with this robot. I don't know if it's possible though, because if the wider the surface, or the more squishy the surface that makes contact with the paper, the worse it actually moves. Then I'm not gonna. I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm sorry. I'm not doing the thing. Ah. The opposite. A rapidograph. I know what that is. Technical pen might work really well. Aren't those expensive though? I do know what that is. I remember those being spendy. Have I considered a larger vibrating motor like a game controller centrally mounted in the head or at the center of the feet? Carl suggested using a larger vibrating motor. I could. I mean, I'm gonna try and get what I have now working. It's not absolutely vital that this works at all because this is just sort of a side project. So I'm going to try to get I'm trying to get this working. I'm going to try and get results with everything that I have available to me right now. Like, I don't want to spend too much money since I don't have any money on this build. So long as I can manipulate some materials that I have on hand, or I can buy at Walgreens readily to get the desired effect, then I'm gonna stick to that for now. If I absolutely can't get anything working, I might just shelf this idea for a while, because this is just sort of a, I don't know. It's just a thought, I guess. I'm playing. It is play. Will take time to 3D print the right parts. Yes. Tony said it will take time to 3D print the right parts. I found with a lot of the things I design, it is just a matter of discovering what the exact shape of something needs to be. Because for most things, it's not a matter of, there isn't like a giant window of correct answers in regard to mechanical design. It's really a super narrow window, and it has one very specific direct answer that will give you the results that you're looking for. And it takes a lot of trial and error to slowly narrow it down into that specific thing that it needs to be to achieve the desired effect. And this is something that I'm learning slowly as I attempt to design mechanical things again and again without experience backing me. So this is just another thing where I'm figuring out that stuff doesn't work the way that I anticipate it's going to. So yeah. But thank you for all the suggestions. Like, I think I will go and get some different thicknesses of Sharpie, as Adam suggested. I think Tony suggested that I actually 3D print like a attachment that just has smaller prongs so that there's a rigid thing making contact with the surface of the paper. Basically, I need to have everything that's attached to the motor be connected to the motor as solid as possible, if I'm understanding this correctly, so that the vibration transfers to the paper, and then the robot can kind of, it's like basically pushing itself up and down as the motor vibrates, and then that's what's causing it to dance. Which, I know that, like, I had that in my mind, I knew that's how it worked, but I just didn't expect my materials to absorb the vibration in the way that they did. So it makes sense now to me, having seen it not work, that the sponge was never going to work, and neither were these little green silicone pads. So, not without using really, really, like, massively powerful motors, which I'm not going to do. So, yeah. Adam, if you have spare motors, like, lying around, like vibrators, and they would still fit in the body of this guy, like, I don't know, like, either point me in the direction of, like, what model number they are, or I don't know, if you really don't mind sending them to me, then I would probably use them. But again, it's not super necessary right now, because I've got probably another day or two of development, like, that I'm willing to put towards this guy before I switch tracks and move on to something else. So I don't know, I'll pick them up again eventually. Tony says the top of a chess rook. Okay, that makes sense. So like a little crown type thing. So hypothetically, if I made like the top of a chess rook, like the little crown thing that has the nubs on the outside, and then stuck, say, for instance, a piece of like smaller sponge on the inside, then the solid crown pieces could be my stiff surface that dances across my paper, and then the sponge would just kind of like be in the way and happen to leave stains in the wake of the rook tip as it does its dancing. So that might work. So that's actually a pretty good suggestion. And Adam says he meant technical pens. Oh, I'm sorry. Shit. I thought you meant motors. But no, you were talking about rapidographs. I'm sorry. Rapidographs. Rapidograph. I don't really have much in terms of motors. Sorry, I thought I got all the stuff mixed up. If you have extra ultra-fine technical pens, I don't know. You don't have to send me anything, but if it doesn't bother you, then I'd appreciate it, if it's not trouble. And yeah, I realized the sponge wouldn't work as well. Tony says the sponge wouldn't work as well as the toothbrush or bristles. I realized that, but do you think it would still work if I embedded the sponge within a harder surface, or created some sort of capillary action with a stiff tip, kind of like an ink pen or a technical pen, where as the stiff surface kind of like bounced across the paper, there'd be some sort of vein that then kind of released the fluid from a sponge that was maybe located up, like, further in the foot. I'm thinking like almost like a calligraphy pen, like one of the fancy ones that holds the ink within like a reservoir, like something like that, where there's an actual gland on the inside of the foot that holds some sort of paint, and then there's a stiff tip that stretches downwards with a vein. And yeah, as the motion and the friction of the tip of the like pen or the toe as it drags across the paper would then kind of pull the ink from the reservoir as it moves. So like as I'm piecing all this together, that's like the solution that I'm kind of compiling in my head after this whole meditation. I think that might be a direction I go in. Like, if I spend one more day actually designing more parts for this guy, that's probably going to be what I do. In addition to just trying like a marker, a modified, like, pointy, fine tip marker. Due to evolution, we probably leave Excessive amount of ink might even splatter some. That's okay. If the vibration causes them to leak and splatter, that just adds to the effect. Like a good effect, I think. It is supposed to be a shaky smear bot, so if the robot's ultimately, at the end of the day, making like messy, weird designs, then I'm okay with that. The other thing is, once I do get this thing moving the way that I kind of want it to, I need to try and actually control its motion, even if just a little bit, with, you know, the microcontroller, like turning the motors on and off in different combinations. Because it would be nice to guide it a little bit in some capacity and see that there's a correlation behind what I program it to do and what it actually creates. Not with any like specific desired effect, but like in a general sense, it would be nice to know that it is controllable on some level and it's not just going to kind of always meander around the paper. But we'll see. I guess one step at a time, right? But yeah, with that, I'm like, it's been about 2 hours. I'm gonna call this this session with Minty finished for the night. It's 11 here. Yeah, I'm gonna throw some tea on and relax now. But thank you for sticking around with me and giving me the suggestions. I'll probably like do a couple of the things that were mentioned tomorrow morning first off while this is all fresh in my mind. And I'll like set up for another work night of development, but probably in the afternoon tomorrow I am going to switch tracks and work on Big Noodle because he really wants attention. So yeah, until tomorrow, I don't know. Those of you who are left in here, I don't know. I'm gonna sign off and say goodnight, but thank you for keeping me company again. I always appreciate the feedback and chatting and just knowing that I'm not alone. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to myself in a room. Aw, trench digging. Alright, well, those of you who paused work to keep me company, I don't know, enjoy the rest of the night of working on stuff, even if it is trench digging. Why are you trench digging, dude? But, what do you mean you mean that, like, not literally, though, I'm sure, but in my mind, you're actually, like, literally digging trenches, so I'm just like, why would you do that? Whatever you meant by trench digging, like, that doesn't sound pleasant either. So whether that's like busy work or whatever you're being forced to do, I don't know. Don't work yourself to death. Like, I don't like digging trenches, no one does. Don't do too much of that. And feel better, Vibrating, because I know that you mentioned that you weren't feeling well. So hopefully the ibuprofen kicked in. Make some tea. And then Coat Duck, if you're still there. I don't know. Have a good night as well. I'll hopefully see you guys around in the near future. And good night, Tony, if you're still there. I don't know if any of you are still there. But yeah, I don't know. Keep doing awesome stuff out there, and good night.